YouTube channel near you.
Well, hello there, Jennifer. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Hello there, Eric, Kathy A, Roger, Lulu. Nice to see you there as everybody is starting to survive Thanksgiving and Black Friday on this cold evening. How'd you survive it?
Barely.
Barely. That's funny.
How about you?
Oh, man, I tell you, I did it. You know, of course, I ate way too much, but like always, but yes. So, two voices doubling over. You hear two voices? I don't.
I don't.
Somebody's got an echo in the background. So, welcome, Rita. Lovely Rita, Rita Main. So, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, part 2. And this is part 2. And what's her name?
Jody Heisentrut.
Yes. Jody. Interesting case.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get everybody. Hello, Liana. Hello there, Nigel. So everybody's backstage and waiting to give their information. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started and bring everybody on. I guess we'll start with Kelly Jo. Come on down.
Hey,
Hello.
Kelly Jo.
Well, the first thing that I saw was a huge man, you know, about 6'4", and he had huge hands. And I feel like there was a witness, and it feels like a crime of passion. And I saw a Ford, what is it, a 450 pickup truck? And it was like dark in color. And that feels like there was a witness, but I heard snitches get stitches.
Oh. Interesting.
So that's what I got. But it was a crime of passion. And there is a bridge and a river. She's by a bridge and a river, not a creek.
A river. Okay.
And then they're saying it runs east to west. That's what I got on it.
Interesting. Okay.
Has her body hasn't been found?
No.
Okay. It feels like it will be found. And it's by the river, by a bridge.
Interesting. Okay. Well, stand by Kelly Jo. What do you make of that?
I don't know. I'm looking for the river to see if I could see something.
Interesting.
Yep.
Next up, Christopher. Come on down there, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Grizzly? How you doing, Jennifer?
Wonderful.
Good.
Hey, Norma. All right, Chris. What do you got, buddy?
Well, of course, I did my standard remote viewing, and I got several pieces of information. This was quite an interesting case. I felt like she was a kind woman, young, had a job, used to have a job at a restaurant, but she wasn't working there anymore. And as I got further into my work, I felt like she had blonde hair, and a real kind smile, beautiful smile, young. And she was involved something to do with advertising, and something to do with like advertising, like commercials on TV or advertising like something on the news. She didn't show up. I felt like she didn't show up for an appointment, and she was late for her advertising job. She was scared. I kept getting the word like scared. Like she was always like looking around like this, like somebody was following her. And I felt like it was a gentleman that ended up that she was involved with, possibly a older man, and let's see, they kept coming around. An older gentleman that came around her a lot. And something to do with her hair, like she was doing her hair at the time of her disappearance. She was. I felt like she was possibly kidnapped, although I hate to use that term, but kidnapped by the guy in her driveway, or a house, like where she parks the car, and the car was parked outdoors. It wasn't in the garage. She was scared, and I felt like this gentleman had been following her for quite a while. I felt like she kept saying to me, or she was saying that she never felt so scared in her life as she did with this gentleman. She knew this guy. I felt like maybe she knew him, like he wasn't a stranger. And further on in my work, I felt like maybe he was stalking her. He kept coming around constantly, trying to get her attention. She drove a black car. She did. She drove what I felt like was it either a pickup truck or maybe a large van. I kept thinking a white pickup truck. I kept seeing white. I felt like she was in a hurry the morning after her disappearance, like she was running around trying to get to where her advertising job is. So it is possible she could have overslept. The gentleman wanted to be with her, and he felt like he deserved her, or he had to be with her. She lived in the area around there. His truck. He has brown hair. Let's see, brown hair, no mustache, no beard, just a kind of not bald headed, but no mustache or facial hair. In his late 20s, maybe. He had been in trouble before with the law, from what I was picking up on. And I felt like maybe the police or somebody might already have one person suspect. I don't think they have the right person if they do. She might have already been in a relationship with somebody else besides this guy, and I'm not sure if that's true or not. But she kept seeing the stalker. She kept coming around quite a bit, and I kept thinking she knew this guy, like the stalker. She knew who it was, like she had met him before. In my final page, I felt like she was taken out of town, like he took her, and they went out of town, but not too far. Not too far from what town she lives in. It's an empty place that she was taken to. I kept feeling like maybe a cold sensation, perhaps. And this place is a little ways out of town. It's still kind of in the area. And I feel like whoever this person is, he lives at that place. That's his home. And I didn't feel like she was alive. I don't feel like she's still like living. I wasn't really hearing her speak to me or anything in my work. I felt like she was very popular in what she did with advertising. Like everybody thought she was like the greatest advertiser. And the commercial or the advertising that she does is in the morning. It's a morning show, and that's what I kept getting with that. He took her and not too far out of town, and wherever she's at, it's a cold place, and that's what I got.
Interesting. Okay, Christopher. Stand by there, kind sir. What do you think there, Jennifer?
We'll see. There's some
All right.
consistency, right?
All right. Next up, across the seas, the one and famous that's always on TV, as she's smiling backstage. Envil, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in America.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
I have not listened to the backstory because I like coming in fresh without letting any facts cloud my judgment. So you're going to see my eyes flip over as I look at the picture. Can you still see me?
Yes, we sure can.
Fabulous. Right. So I'm looking at the photo of the person that I'm tuning into. I'm a tarot person, so I like using the tarot cards. But before even drawing any cards, I was feeling a sense of suffocation with that person, where it was hard for me to even get my lungs to draw air. So there could be a connection with suffocation around that person before even sort of getting anywhere. So as I look through some cards, it's showing violence around her. It's showing physical violence. Interestingly, I'm not seeing knives, cutting. Sorry if that's a little graphic. I am seeing like a struggle, punches, possibly bruises. And it looks like there is a connection with a robbery, but I don't feel like the robbery and the violence were kind of the cause of one another, that it was incidental. So maybe she was assaulted and then some items from her person or from her environment were missing, but that wasn't the reason why she was the one that was attacked. It looks like the reason was personal and specific to her, and then if things went missing, it was just like a little add-on that could cause like a shift in the investigation, but it doesn't look like that's the reason. And I've got an interesting feeling here how there's some internal damage, internal bleeding, something that might have to do with ingesting. It looks like poison, but I don't know what kind of poison it is, whether that was something that was intentional. So so that's what I've got as this sort of immediate connection to the person. Let me see what I can find in terms of guilty parties or accomplices to guilty parties. That is interesting because it shows her always surrounded by her girls. It shows her as part of like either a trio of ladies, or if there was her and say two daughters, or if there were like a trio of sisters or something. It shows her with two other women sort of forming a trio, and that would usually all three of them would be together. All three of them would be going places together, doing activities together, and some kind of coincidence caused for her to maybe be separated from the pack. And it looks like whatever happened to her, whatever caused for her to, to be on our show, probably, for the least desired show to be on as a subject, it shows that even though I feel like the attack or whatever it was is personal, I also feel like it wasn't planned specifically for the time that it was. It was kind of a coincidence that the attacker or attackers saw her on her own. And I'm saying attacker or attackers because I'm seeing a few persons of interest. I've got one person I do not like. It's showing me somebody who is like a fitness model, like strong and broad and standing tall. So somebody who doesn't need a weapon, who himself is a weapon. And then I've got somebody smaller next to him who's kind of like a sidekick, not to make light, I don't want to make a joke, obviously, of a tragedy, but it's somebody who is smaller. He likes to lighten the mood. That's kind of his role in the dynamic of the attackers. And then I've got a third person that is involved in the aftercare of the attack. So I feel like there's one person who wasn't on the scene, who wasn't on the premises when whatever was going on took place, but somebody that maybe helped conceal something, somebody that might have helped wash something. So let me see what clues we might be able to connect with. So because I'm seeing more of a physical struggle and less of a weapon, then there's fewer objects in terms of an attack that we could find. But I do feel like there might be DNA traces. It's showing me like on cups or on utensils or something like that. So I don't know if she had vanished from near a kitchen or somewhere where dishes would have been used. But I feel like there is the imprint, or there is the physical contact between the attacker and household items that were around. And also, I said that I wasn't sort of feeling an official weapon like a blade or anything like that, but I do see a blunt item that could still bear, sorry to say it so bluntly, but could still bear traces of her DNA. So it could be blood, hair, and so on. Let me ask a couple of questions of my cards just to kind of round off the findings. So first of all, I want to ask whether more clues will be found or anybody will come forward. More clues will be found. I feel like the person who could be brought to justice might already not be of this world. The person who could be brought to justice might have already passed themselves, but more information will be revealed. I feel like there's not any extra people that know things that they aren't telling, but there is more evidence. There are more small bits of evidence that can be kind of found and collated. So that's what I've got there.
Interesting. Thank you, and we'll stand by. Jennifer. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my
What?
Lord.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right. Next up. She's from the down under, has no power, is in the black. Cat from Australia.
Howdy, everybody. I'm sorry this for anyone's loss or anyone waiting or anyone being triggered by any of this. I was front loaded with the photo. I've called her Blue Jacket Handkerchief Lady. She seemed like a really nice lady, much loved, little naive in some areas, I felt. Female, human, USA citizen. First track, I got her in a mid-south state, either Idaho or Iowa, somewhere like that. That was first track. No dual citizenship. Abducted on Earth by a human. near her vehicle. They're retransported, not afraid of this man. They'd planned to meet approximately 20 miles from her hometown, exited her vehicle willingly, told they would return to the car, needed to help a friend who was in trouble. She trusted him and was worried about her friend. The friend was a female friend. He tried to come onto her. They had an altercation, strangled, no blood, no evidence left at the scene. He got rid of the body without help. I'm sorry I'm being so cold here. Body is within 20-mile radius of hometown, under soil, 3 foot under, residential area, close to houses, but not in anyone's yard. No water or vegetation nearby. It looked like farming land, some sort of grain, silos not far. Easily found, no concrete, unwrapped, clothed, jewelry on, metal detector would be handy. Scene was made to look like work. The perp was not interested in her knowledge. UTL has passed. Her remains are not found at the moment. I've got her approximately 28 to 30 years unaccounted for. It looks like an old cold case. Foul play involved. Perpetrator known to the lady. Friend, not colleague. Male. Family friend. Jealousy involved, to do with love. Self-defense connections. She was learning from the perp, I feel. Training her. Aged approximately 27 at the time of the crime. This is the perp. Black hair, facial hair, moustache, no beard, no piercings. Had distinguishing marks on his torso. A scar from an operation. There are medical records. Possibly a kidney. I'm not sure. Height, roughly 5'7". He was in love with her. She did not know he was. She was in love with another. Saw him as a friend only. I've got the perp is still alive. Does not reside in the area. Still resides in the USA, possibly Oregon somewhere. Still using his original name. Didn't mean to kill her. Accidental with anger. Had priors, this guy. Seemed to control his anger after this and has had no further violence charges. I don't know if that means he's been locked up and stopped that way. I'm not sure. But he hasn't hurt anyone since. There's no footage anywhere, including him in his vehicle. It's not an official road. It's like a farm road. The vehicle was sold shortly after the incident. I've got a green color, a sedan, short wheelbase, easily recognizable, station wagon with those like wood panelings, like a collector's vehicle. The perp does not see himself as a murderer, accidental in his mind. Apparently there are photos somewhere of this perp online. And I've got why. The perp had nothing to do with her work. She wasn't killed because of her work. She knew things others didn't know, but this didn't have anything to do with her demise. She received some sort of a phone call. It's a non-recognizable phone number. There's no records can be found. There was evidence with her body linking him to her. There still is evidence which can link to him. It is the only evidence. Her remains have the answers. A ring left an impression on her neck. I'm pretty sure she was strangled. He threw it in with her. It took him 15 to 20 minutes to drive to the burial spot from where they first met up. He was panicked, not under the influences of any drugs or alcohol or anything like that. He was pretty under control in his head. Quite intelligent, strong, some sort of a trade, like to do with equipment, like, I don't know, engineer or something. My location, I went in for another search. I have 43. You might want to pull it up on the map. I can't do it from here. 43-0-1-04 north. 93-16 55 West. It's south of a town called Mason, I think. But there's this word kept coming up all the time, Jack. I don't know if it's Jack to do with when you're changing your tires, or if it's part of a name, but Jack keeps coming up in my head all the time. So I'm sorry. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Interesting. All right, next up. He's from across the border. He's famous. You all know Craig. Welcome, Craig.
Welcome. So I've kind of agreed a little bit with everyone here. I don't know if it's that for her, it's like she was known. I don't know if I see communication. Don't know. Yeah, I see communication. So I believe she was known in the area. I feel she was being stalked, and I think she knew it. I think she was afraid of this or brought this up previously. So other people knew about how she was feeling. How she was feeling. I get she was taken from her home. The vehicle that she was put in, I see as a van, but I think they blew it up or got rid of the vehicle or crushed it, or it's gone. She knew this person. This was, I think she was almost set up prior, but it didn't go the way the person wanted it to. So a second attempt was made a little more forceful. Well, obviously more forceful, but it's like they've met before. And I don't think it was, he meant to harm her per se, but I think things got out of hand and it ended up going that way. I don't think she realized that she knew the stalker. I get choked. I get hard to breathe. And this is an older case, so I'm assuming between ages, she was like 25 to 28, in that range. Yeah, people knew her, so I don't know why I see a lot of people around her or knowing her. It's almost like there's three areas: the vehicle, the original spot, and then a dump spot. If I don't know if that's making any sense to you guys, but
Yeah, a little bit.
there would be a marsh. You'd be in the country. It's not in the city. There is farms around. But again, a muddy marsh, a mud area where it would never surface again, kind of mud pond or something along those lines. And then getting it, T, Thomas, Tim, a short word, like 3-4 letters starting with a T. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've picked up with that.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, stand by. All right. What do you think about that one?
Interesting. Interesting.
Angela, you're next.
Okay, so the deceased actually showed me in a dream, had me be her from her point of view, and I saw a bridge going over water, and I was with my girlfriends. I had some girls that were like family to me, and they were always around me all the time, and I was waiting to be picked up, and it was dark. I went outside. I was looking forward to meeting this person. I didn't think the person was dangerous. This man, I just got the impression the man had dark hair but very distinctive eyes. He had very distinctive, bright blue eyes. It's something that would stand out to you if you were to meet him. I got the sense that he was quite tall, maybe 6'4", 6'5", fairly older. I also heard down. She trusted him. There was no hint of violence. No hint of violence. He deliberately had put out the impression that he was a nonviolent person, but he did this deceptively. I got that she is deceased. And when he picked her up, he was taking her somewhere she did not plan to go. I kept seeing a wooded area, and she actually showed me an image. Now there's a ghost box that I use that it also generates images. So I asked her to show me where, and I was seeing a farm area with water running through that farm area with a lot of trees around. I got that she was near water, in water. I kept getting bridge and water over and over again. And I was seeing car keys. I was showing that he took her car keys in particular. For some reason, he took her car keys as a souvenir. He also took some of her personal effects, like some money and cash and things like that. He took some of her personal effects. I also got feeling like I can't breathe also as well. Like I feel like my chest is going to explode. I also saw some sort of bludgeon involved, like at hand, like something that was in the car or maybe a stick or something nearby, or something substantial that he used as a bludgeon or as a weapon of opportunity. I kept being shown her card keys over and over again. She was killed in the woods. I got this is not his first time that he has done this to somebody, that he is not his first victim. Okay, he has have some sort of psychopathy towards women. I got but it's almost like he has two personalities. The personality manifests to the women that he's attracted to. He will seem very nice. He will seem very gentlemanlike. He will seem very smart. He would seem like he's a guy who's very professional. But he also has this, I said, inner monster that comes out as it just comes out. It's just there. It just lunges out when it has the opportunity, almost if he has two different personalities. And I was also seeing him going back and trying to take the body apart and then try to disperse the remains as far as he could. But I kept seeing car keys. I kept seeing that her car keys were a very big clue, that I feel like her car keys are nearby. Like he took her car keys and he purposely placed them where he knew they would be found. Almost if he wants almost like he's taunting or teasing police, or he wants to be caught. The other images that she was making me feel like this happened at night. I kept getting, it was nighttime. I felt a really festive feeling with these ladies, and she was taken very near where these women were. So I feel like they were just having a good time. Either they had just got off of work or were close to the end of work, and they were getting ready to have some drinks. And then she stepped away for a bit, or was pulled away from them, and nobody heard from her again. But I feel like he will be caught. I feel like it'll be known who he is. He's the rather tall gentleman and with very distinctive pale blue eyes. And I get a feeling of a park as well, like a nature park or something like that, and a wildlife area.
Okay, well, thank you, Angela. Stand by. All right, next up, I got a couple of clippings here to bring some people up to speed. And let's see here. And action.
We turn now to new developments in the decades-long disappearance of former North Iowa newscaster Jody Husentrud.
The Mason City Police Department confirmed that a tip led them to an investigation in Winstead, Minnesota. Our ABC 6 News reporter Alexander Schmidt joins us now live from our newsroom with more on this development. And Alex, what can you tell us?
Well, Robin and Maisie, it's been almost 30 years since Jody Husentrud mysteriously disappeared from her home in Mason City. She's believed to have been abducted on her way to work one early morning in June of 1995, but the case has produced very few leads since then. KIMT news anchor Jody Husentrud was just 27 at the time of her disappearance. She was declared legally dead in absentia in 2001, but the investigation remains open. The Mason City Police Department confirmed that they recently received a tip that led their investigation to Winstead in rural McLeod County, about a 3-hour drive from Mason City and 100 miles from Long Prairie, where Husentrud grew up. That trip was conducted about 2 weeks ago, but the department isn't sharing what they were following up on or where it fits in the overall investigation. In a statement, Chief Jeff Brinkley said the MCPD, quote, continues to receive, evaluate, and follow up information it receives related to Husentrud's disappearance on a regular basis, end quote, and that there would be no additional information for public release at this time.
I promise, like, if we have news on this, we will let the media know. Bar none. Nobody, I think we all have the same interest here, and when we're there, and if we get there, we'll let you know.
FindJody.com is a website of freelance investigators and journalists seeking closure to Jody's story.
It is such a roller coaster for everybody who's been following this case, and mostly for Jody's loved ones. I can't say it's major because we're not in a position to evaluate what they have, but clearly there was significant police presence.
Earlier this year at an event commemorating the 29th anniversary of Jody's disappearance, friends and family said that they aren't giving up until they find those answers and hopefully justice for Jody.
Keep Jody in your heart and send prayers and strength for the family and friends who also desperately need to know what happened. We all need to know where's Jody and who did this.
Now, anyone with information related to Husentrud's disappearance is encouraged to contact the Mason City Police Department or the Iowa DCI. And we have all of that information on our website, KALTV.com. In the newsroom, Alexander Schmidt, ABC 6 News.
All right, Jennifer, what other information do we have before I play the next clip?
Well, to kind of confirm some of the things they were saying, that a week before her investigation, she did file a report with the police about being stalked, and the vehicle she described was a white pickup truck of the person she believed was stalking her. At the remains of, I believe at the site of her car was a Mazda Miata. It was found out in the parking lot of her apartment complex. And there was her purse, a hair dryer, but the thing that was really out of place was a bent car key, which kind of goes back to what some of the mediums were saying too. She did play golf earlier with a gentleman who was much older than her and left that tournament to go watch a birthday video or something like that. So that kind of lines up with what they were saying as well. And she was late for work. She, getting to the news to do the morning show that she did every day that morning. She spoke to her producer who called her, and she was just running late. And she said, "Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm on my way." And then she never made it. She never made it.
Right. All right. Stand by. And next clip.
With TV news anchor who vanished 28 years ago, and it could potentially pinpoint a person of interest. Jody Huisentruit was 27 years old when she disappeared back in 1995. She had overslept and was running late to anchor the news that morning, but she never showed up. Police arrived at her apartment to find her car still in the parking lot, along with other items scattered around her apartment, like a blow dryer, her red heels, a bent car key. Now, 28 years later, a private investigator believes jealousy was a factor in Jody's disappearance, saying Jody had a secret fling with a mystery man just days before she went missing, never to be seen again. So let's bring in that private cold case investigator, Steve Ridge, who uncovered this new detail, has been investigating this case for years. Steve, thank you so much for being with us. I guess my first question to you, how do you even approach investigating a case that is nearly 30 years old?
Well, persistence, I guess, is the answer, Nicole. I've been working on this case pretty much nonstop for 3.5 or 4 years. And what I discovered was that there was a relationship that formed with Jody and a man who she met just 10 days before she went missing. And they were such fast friends that they actually spoke or met 8 times in 10 days, and she was out of town the other 2. So they went golfing, they had drinks, they sat on his lakeside overlook, they had dinner. She was very preoccupied with this gentleman, and it took her basically out of her normal routine, which I believe may have created some intense jealousy on the part of others who were used to seeing her on a fairly regular basis or being able to have access to her. So this has never been made public. It's something I discovered. I do know now that police are fully aware of it, but they chose not to make it public. I think it's important to make this public because it may shed light. If people did see Jody out on a date or in different situations in that final 10 days, who else was there? Who else observed it? Who else might have been upset by it? And sometimes to get information, you have to give information.
Absolutely.
So that's why
And we're talking about a news anchor here. This is in a small town, certainly, nearly 30 years ago. Obviously, television news anchors, things were a little bit different there. I mean, this is certainly someone that people would recognize, that people would know in that area. So this man, this mystery man, Steve, I know I was doing a little research. So police initially called him a person of interest, but he was later cleared. So how do you think he potentially plays into all of this, 28 years later?
Well, I think basically being in the wrong place at the wrong time, essentially, not realizing how supercharged the dynamics were around suitors. Jody was just very popular. She was the star local news anchor in a very small community. That was the only television station that was actually based in that Mason City community. And so she was like a network star to the local people. And she was an attractive young woman that got lots of attention. She was very well liked by men and women. There were a lot of people that had an interest in being with her.
So, Steve, before we let you go here, I know you're offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Jody's remains. I have 2 questions for you. Do you think her remains at this point will ever be recovered? And do you think we'll ever really know what happened to Jody?
Well, I think that there's only a slight chance that we will recover her remains, although I am specifically working on the method that was used potentially to dispose of her remains. And regardless of any condition of the remains, it is very possible that there could be physical evidence that would be self-sustaining for a very long period of time. So I haven't given up on that, but I think more likely would be, I know 3 people who I believe have information and have not come forward or have not been fully honest with what they know. And if any one of them were to come forward, I think it could re-energize this case.
Oh, yeah, we certainly hope so. Steve Ridge, I know you've put a lot of hours into this, a lot of hard work. So thank you so much for giving us some of your valuable time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you for watching.
Did you see the picture of the guy towards the end? The birthday photo. Interesting. So here's something I kind of teased last week that this is on findjody.com. It was an article that was written November 29th, 1995. And it was by a local, WFLA Josh, this reporter. He says, murder victim told authorities of possible who's in true link. Jackie Folkerts, a 19-year-old woman, this is from the St. Paul Associated Press, who was fatally stabbed in her Iowa home, told relatives before her death that a man told her he was involved in the disappearance of a television newswoman, Jody Heisentube. KSTP TV in Minneapolis reported. Folkerts, a waitress who was found dead in her Britt, Iowa home, January 25th, which would have been 99, by a coworker and customer who had gone to check on her when she did not show up from work. Britt is 30 miles west of Mason City in northern Iowa. Folkert's aunt and uncle, David and Olivia Mitchell, said Jackie told them a man approached her about 3 weeks before her death at the Colony Inn where she was working, and talked about Jody, who's in truth. Some man came in and was talking to Jackie about he was the one who either kidnapped Jody or had something to do with it, Mitchell said. Mitchell said his niece was upset by the incident. The man then showed up at the restaurant a second time, and Folkerts got the man's license number after her death. And Mitchell said they turned the number over to the Iowa Department of Criminal Investigation. The Britt's police chief told the news source that he only recently became aware of the information and intends to follow up. And I've seen nothing else about that.
Really?
Interesting. Yeah. So Britt would be rural, kind of west. And I kind of looked where Kat was talking on a map and the coordinates. If you want me, I can share my screen and kind of show you where that ended up in relationship to what she said. So here, and we're going to go here. So here's Mason City, Iowa, right here, right? And that's where Jody was. If you look at where Kat's coordinates line up, it's right in this area.
Really?
Yep.
Now, the flip side is that one of the suspects has got what, dementia or Alzheimer's now?
Yep, and is non-communicative.
Yes. So
if you want to go even farther out, Britt.
And I see Invo in the background shaking her head.
You see what?
So what does that mean, Invo, when you're shaking your head?
Because I could see that there's no way to bring the perpetrator to justice, even though there will be more clues. Also, while I've got the camera, you have to see something. So looking at the clues, I had this card, and I want you to see how the key is such a prominent element of this card, and I was blinking at it and I was thinking the key means something, and I thought, what are the odds? But it's there. These things are incredible.
Yep, for sure.
Yes. Now, with everybody else starting to come in, let me fix the stage here. So now what do y'all think, ladies and gentlemen?
Seems like we're all on the same track.
Yeah, and I was being shown keys over and over again, and keys turned out to be significant. I talked about water through farmland, and then right on the newscast, they showed water through farmland. And bridge and water. We kept getting water, and I kept getting it was a secret man, a man that she was meeting, and that she just had a few drinks and just had some fun. So that part, fits with what I was being shown, the impressions I was getting. We all got she wasn't breathing, and we all got that he took things of hers. So this person, even if that person has dementia at this point and may not think for the no, if they look through his personal, let's say if he's in a nursing home, they would have to look through his personal belongings and sort through them before he would go to a nursing home. So her things may yet be found by relatives of his or caregivers of his.
But if you don't know what you're looking for, it can be thrown out.
Right, exactly. But
goodwill.
But still, they could find something that's out of place or unusual, like, maybe they find this woman's credit cards. Maybe they find some of her keys. Maybe they find, it's like, what is he doing with this woman's credit cards? What is this? What is he doing with these things?
Do you know if the stalker was the blue-eyed one?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm thinking maybe the stalker, if he's the blue-eyed one,
yes,
maybe he saw what went down, but he couldn't say anything because he was a stalker.
I kept getting crime of passion and huge hands and a huge man, huge strength.
Yeah. Super strong. He may have leant and bent the key.
Right. So, Kelly Jo, you talked about
I'm sorry, what?
Kelly Jo, you talked about a river running east and west?
Yes.
The Winnebago River.
Oh, wow. I got God bumps.
Runs right to the basin.
My hair is standing up.
And it does have a bridge going across it, correct? It does have a modest-sized bridge.
Is it farmland out there?
Is there what?
Is it farmland out there?
I mean, it's a small town. The Winnebago River, at one point runs east-west, but then it turns north. There's also a thing called Willow Creek.
Do they grow? What kind of farming's out there?
It's not a creek. It's a river.
Yeah. The main river in Mason
is
Winnebago.
They were emphatic about the river.
Yeah.
I kept getting cold when I was doing my RV. I kept feeling like this, like a cold sensation where she was located.
But yeah, outside the city, there is farmland. It is farmland.
Of the Winnebago River, I was looking at images and just pulling up images of the Winnebago River. It does show a bridge crossing it, a very modest bridge going across it. And so it does have, it looks like I'm seeing a dam on here as well. And it looks like there may be more than one bridge as well that crosses.
It probably is, yeah.
It looks like it's in farmland as well.
Do we have any names available for the possible stalkers? Or people?
The private investigator has got 4 possible leads. One of them's got dementia or Alzheimer's, and the other 3 he's not releasing information on. He's gave it to the police, but he's got circumstantial evidence, but he won't release it to the public yet because it's an ongoing case.
Okay. And vehicle?
A white pickup truck.
Jody reported a week before her disappearance, she filed a police report of a person in a white pickup truck stalking her.
And it's interesting also that, if you brought up that one with the waitress that was assaulted, that The man had mentioned that he confessed that he was also and I had stated this was not his only victim.
Right.
And he passed himself as one person, but he also had another submerged personality that was just a monster towards women.
Right.
And
Yeah.
somebody said the name Thomas earlier. I was also picking up on Thomas, although I did not write that down.
Okay.
There's that Jack that keeps coming up. There's no names with like, or no one's mentioned Jacks out of cars, or I cannot get Jack out of my head. It just keeps throwing in my face the whole time. I don't know if it's part of another word or something to do with what you're saying, Craig. For some reason, I keep crisscrossing with your whatever that name was, starting with T.
T. Tom or
yeah, I'm crisscrossing my Jack somehow. I don't know. Something's going on there.
And I do think the guy involved is Caucasian.
Yeah.
Blue
Me too.
eyes. Oh,
Blue eyes.
Oh, I don't have blue eyes.
well off. I think like he had money.
Older than her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, older than her. Yeah, definitely.
Would the stalker was obsessed with her.
Yes.
Do we know if he's blue-eyed? I'm just going to have a quick douse and see if the stalker's got the blue eyes. Yeah, I've got the stalker as having the blue eyes.
Blue eyes, like light blue eyes, like
Yeah, real piercing.
All right,
bright
we have to ramp up. Time's up, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, thank you all so much for your all's time and effort on this. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the case and you have a cold case or unsolved case, you want to submit it to us, please submit it to Jennifer and I. We'll take a look at it. And it's been a blessing. Hopefully, everybody has a safe and happy holiday. Jennifer, any last words?
No, thank you all for your hard work and happy holidays to everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Happy holidays. Thank you all. Godspeed, everybody. Bye-bye.
Love.
near you.